Hi, and welcome to another episode of I Cut Him Off Mid Sentence so we can start this fucking thing
In
in
5D.
5D. Alright, continue your story because it was actually starting to get good. Um,
It's not really a story, but yeah. So the Cuphead show came out. I only did the first two episodes. It's actually probably best we don't talk about it, right? And I will say though, even if you played the game, the game's not like a lore heavy, plot heavy game. Um,
okay.
it's almost an NES throw. Like there are NES games that have more plot than Cuphead does. Really, I'm spoiler for you, Eduardo. And oh no, you're really gonna want earmuffs. The game is you lose a bet with the devil, and then he makes a deal where instead of he takes your soul, you have to go collect
Wait,
souls
wait, wait, no,
for him.
you're saying me. You're saying me. You
I
are
say you.
saying me.
I say you.
That Cuphead wagers his soul with El Diablo? Dios mío.
That's literally the whole plot.
No, I know.
And there is no further plot development. So the show's kind of nice, at least from the first two episodes, because they kind of introduce those concepts, but don't actually play out that scenario yet.
Okay.
Like he hasn't lost his soul to the he has, but he had like there's no deal with the devil yet, and that's 2 episodes in. So it's interesting. I'm liking the anime. Man, my camera's not happy today. Sorry,
Yeah,
everybody who's watching it. It's super unhappy.
kind of sort of
Um,
hates you at this very moment.
does I should probably upgrade it. It's been the same shitty camera for years. Yeah, the Cuphead show was fun so far, but we'll do a better
Okay.
review once we both watched it. And
Of
you
course.
watching it is not going to harm you playing that game ever at all.
Okay. I didn't know it was out originally, and then I was really kind of surprised that they would even do something like that. Because I understand that it got super popular, but like, why?
I mean, yeah, fair. The DLC is coming out, so I think there could be some sort of circular
Mm,
marketing with that. And the character that they're adding in the DLC is in the show.
okay.
So
Well, maybe that makes a lot more sense because there's a lot of other properties that I'm like, oh, that would kill as an animated show. Like, I'm really liking the Castlevania.
yeah, Castlevania was really good.
Yeah. So,
You know what bums me out though is like I've still not heard any plans for a Metroid show, and I would love a Metroid show.
yeah, Metroid would be a weird combo of like Halo and Aliens, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
like deep sci-fi, but really more concerned about the protagonist and sort of what she's going through.
yeah. The only problem I see is that they might end up giving it the Doom treatment, which was fucking awful.
Yeah, Doom was really bad. There's a
Like,
sequel.
yes.
I didn't see it.
So I've seen both of them. Um, the second one is right up my alley. It's a fucking B movie, sci-fi kind of style thing because it was a sequel, but it wasn't like a wide sequel. I didn't hate it. It was. I love shitty sci-fi. Which is why I know the one thing that you've got that you spent your whole weekend doing is the thing
It's
that
such a
leads
good
right onto
segue,
it.
but there was actually one other thing I was going to tell you. So now it's a question of do I use the
No,
great
no,
segue
we
or
already we gave up the Grand Segue once before, like 3 episodes ago.
so you're saying to use it?
Yeah.
Segway!
Ooh, we're bringing
Uh,
that back.
speaking of shitty sci-fi, um, so it was my wife's birthday, and I don't know if anybody remembers. Why would you? You have no reason to. For my birthday, I did a big movie marathon. I did a 4 weekend horror movie marathon. Like brought friends over, got beer, got food, and watched horror movies. So for her birthday, she wanted to do a more sane version of that, where she just picked one weekend, the weekend of her birthday, and we watched some sci-fi movies because my wife is a huge fan of bad sci-fi. Uh, and one of her favorite movies, whether she ever admits that it's higher up in her top 10 than she pretends like it is, I swear anytime I'm like, what, like, let's watch a movie, let's just throw something on, what do you want to watch? It is always Starship Troopers.
it, it,
Always.
it,
Oh, it's
it's
this way.
her. It's her Shaun of the Dead.
It is. It's her. It's her Shaun of the Dead. Or Scott Pilgrim. Even it truly is.
Ooh, Scott
Uh,
Pilgrim. That's big claim.
but rewatching it as often as I do, I will say, dude, Starship Troopers is just really good.
It is a solid
Flat out.
fucking movie.
It's just really good.
It is the best combination of action, satire, and not cheese, but like almost grindhousey. It's such
Oh,
a
like
weird
it's ham.
calm. Oh yeah,
It has straight ham
but it's like a parody. It
at
is
points.
at points it's a parody, and
Yes.
sometimes it's a parody of itself, which is what I love.
Yes. And what's funny is actually on Bias Bros, Jay would swear, fuck Starship Troopers. Awful movie, unwatchable, no redeeming qualities. And I was like, bro, I don't know what happened to you to like make this be a part of your life.
Show me on this
But you
Jewel
need
CD
to-
case.
You need to rewatch Starship Troopers. And he did, and he was like, he came back, and credit to him for doing it. He came back and he went, yeah, I have no idea why I hated that movie so much. It was so good. It's that good.
I think the problem is that if you take it at face value,
It's pretty dumb.
It is dumb as fuck, and it is a movie that just basically think like Red Sonja and those kinds of films where surface level you're like, yeah, it's kind of dumb, but it's got different tiers. I like Starship Troopers. I liked it before, and I've only liked it more because as I grew out of my shooty phase with films and stuff, right? I started to get more of it. Because the first time I saw it, I didn't realize it was, parody, and I saw it in high school, right?
I get what you're saying, but I still don't necessarily agree with calling it a parody film. It's a film with parody elements.
Okay, so it's not a parody film in the sense of, because what it parodies is that like militarism. It parodies society versus parodying its own medium, I should say.
Yes, it is not parodying film.
No,
it is
not
parodying
at all.
like social concepts, governmental constructs.
Exactly. It's parody in the purest form, with like the original parodies were mocks of real life.
Yeah.
Right. It's that kind of parody for sure. Yeah. No. Thanks for the clarification. But yeah, it is. It's well done where the characters that need to be serious are serious. Look, say what you want about even what is it, the main actress?
Casper Van Dien.
Well, no, that was the actor. I said actress.
Denise Richards or
Denise. No,
okay.
Denise Richards. The other one, I don't consider her a main actress, but
Diz is absolutely a main actress.
Really? I always thought she was kind of set as because she's not in the beginning.
She's in the beginning. She's in the opening classroom with them, and she's in the dissection scene.
Oh shit! Is she?
And she's at the prom.
Holy fuck!
No, Diz is all over the opening, bud.
God damn!
Do you need to rewatch Starship Troopers?
I've literally just recently watched it within the last 6 months.
Will your wife watch that one?
I don't know.
It has a couple of scenes I can see her like the original Invasion of Klendathu. I think she might have a hard time with.
The guy,
because it's just filmed super dark and super rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It goes from nothing to fucked in seconds.
Yeah, well, I'm actually starting. Well, I'm not. She's starting to ease herself into this.
Okay. That might be a good one because it's it's coming.
Yeah.
It's just still brutal. So here's what I wanted to do, though. We've already gone off on a tangent because what I wanted to really do here, I found something interesting watching these 3 movies in a row.
Okay, I've never done that.
Don't.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So here's my thing. Starship Troopers gets better when you watch the other 2 movies because it does almost all of the same things, but shows how Starship Troopers and that weird parody pseudo comedic sort of bit it's just done so much better
Okay.
in the original. And even simple concepts work better in the first film than they do in the other two films.
So how much of that is because it had already been done and it wasn't innovative anymore?
No,
Okay.
the thinking is wrong. So the first movie, right? Think back to any of the barracks and bases they had. It was open areas and high walls, right? Speaking strategically based on their enemy, that's probably the best you can get. Something to help you see them from far away and start hitting them from as far away as possible because it's an overrun deck, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the flood, it's the Zerg. They're not there with firepower. They're there with numbers. They
Yep.
take you by just having too much for you to handle. They're all blitzkrieg. So when you're building a base, you set up for a blitzkrieg. You prepare for that. The first thing that's introduced, Starship Troopers 2, is the new tool that's helping everybody, the shovel, because we're moving to trench warfare. Well, trench warfare doesn't work against an overrun deck. You
Or,
need something to slow them, and,
or
and that's for
bugs that
speeding
can
across the ground.
dig.
The bugs dig. The bugs have actually a very low ground profile. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Trenches don't, and immediately the bugs overrun and are able to take them from the front and the back of the trench.
Yeah, of course.
They get surrounded because it's too easy for them to get over it. The would you like to know more bits are still there. They, I'll give them this. They had a more selfie cam kind of view to a lot of them, which I thought fit with modern times a little better, even though it's absolutely not what it was preparing for. It lucked into that. So I did like that. But one of the they tried to add a couple of new types of bug to number 2.
Yeah.
And it took the cheese factor in the wrong direction. There were now, my wife pointed out, she really liked, they did model them after like potato bugs, pill bugs, roly-polies. They got a million names. I don't know what the proper one is, but they were those. But literally, they would just sort of fall from the sky and scream. They'd go, "Ee!" And they'd fall, and then explode like grenades. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit. And then the other one was, I felt just really cheap. It was giant scorpions with laser tails. But like everything with big bugs, it's always a scorpion. You know, like, I don't know. I feel like scorpions are done. That's a weird sentence to have to say.
That is a very weird sentence, especially because.
Oh, come on, camera! It's being a real dick today.
Giant scorpions haven't been done that often. I think.
Giant scorpions have been done. It's a thing. Okay.
Okay. So I've seen them a lot in like cartoons and shit, but in film,
old school fantasy stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to flip this light on to see if it helps the camera. Let's see what that does.
Probably. Apparently, the reflection off your pearlescent skin was confusing the camera.
That's what does it. Well, it helps with because the bald head reflects it off in different ways. It helps the camera pick it up better. It's good times.
Go. Yep, no, totally works. If you go like this, I'll make the sound effects. Woo!
So I would actually argue for the original Starship Troopers, I liked their concept. Nope, it's still blurry. The camera's just being a dick. Their concepts for the bugs were truly like space bugs. They were unique. They had elements that were similar to bugs that we have here, but it wasn't just like, here's the ant one, here's the spider one, here's the beetle one, here's the bee one. The flying bug in the first one is definitely some sort of flying beetle, but there's no direct like, oh, it's this kind. And same with the big tanky beetle with the flamethrower face.
Yeah.
They had really unique designs, making a pill bug and a scorpion, though giant bugs and bugs that their argument for them made sense. Bugs reproduce very quickly, so as soon as we make new weapons, they breed new weapons. Okay, I buy it. Space bugs that can think, sure, I buy it. It just does it. going with like, oh, but here's the pillbug one, here's the scorpion one. I stop buying it. Why is it suddenly shaped like things we have? The other ones, the basic arachnid isn't. Also, the arachnid only has 4 legs, but whatever.
I mean, also, let's be honest. They could have thrown in some bullshit about the brain bug reading their minds too, and
So
shit
there's
like
you
that.
just landed on the other bit that didn't work for number two. Number two tries to take a more horror approach, which I actually did appreciate. And I think Starship Troopers actually can lend itself to a more horror sci-fi. Kind of
Sure.
like think of Pitch Black versus Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
We already had our Chronicles of Riddick. Starship Troopers 2 really wanted to be the Pitch Black, and it didn't do it very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it,
That's
but it,
fair.
it could work. It could work real well. Um, they bring I feel like somebody sat in a room talking about the first one, was like the brain bug, and got way too hard on that concept. So two introduces literally bugs that like they vomit up, that are little, I don't know, like gerbil sized bugs that then crawl into your body and can control your brain like perfectly, like puppet you, and have memories of how to do things and what protocol is, and even speak on your behalf. I would have actually preferred had they just gone with a more traditional zombie. The bugs have made a brain worm, but it just makes you really ragey and violent or something.
Yeah.
I buy that more than the brain praying mantis treating you as a puppet. Like it didn't work. And so again, the first movie, a bug that can think, I would find that offensive. They they kind of take the bug thing seriously enough. They're big space bugs. They're just bugs that evolved in space and spread to planets, because what do things do? They spread and they get resources. That's just how life works.
Yep.
Two tried to take it into this weird, like, ultra sci-fi. No, it's the new kind that can control you, and it was too much. It was too it The first one was already having us believe that it could drink a brain and then somehow read the
Yep.
information on that brain. We're already pushing it. This is a step too far.
Also, what happened in the budget of number two that they were like, these helmets? Let's make them huge.
I love the segues you're setting up because you don't even realize it. Let's talk about the budget for number three.
Oh, for
If
fuck's
you want to talk
sakes.
about a bad budget, the guns in three were these huge, chonky, plastic-looking, like Nerf guns look more
I was about
realistic
to
than the
say
shit they were carrying.
they look like those big giant water guns you get at Kmart.
They also decided to full CG the arachnids, and my wife keeps saying she's pretty sure the original arachnids are at least part physical, and I know for certain scenes they are, but I think the big horde scenes, I'm not sure if it's part practical, part CG, or if it's all CG, but I will say the CG budget for number three makes them look like a cartoon.
Yeah, it was weird. It had like Babylon 5 graphics long past when Babylon
Yes.
5 was in its prime.
Oh no, it's bad. They are big cartoon bugs in number
Yeah.
three.
Uh,
It
I
doesn't work.
I remember at one point I'm like, I could have sworn that was just a guy wearing a cardboard cutout of a bug going sideways because it was so
So
fucking bad.
let's talk about dialogue in Starship Troopers. The first
Okay.
movie, look, we still have some pretty cheesy hoorah kind of dialogue, but I think the cheesy hoorah dialogue is used very smart in the first one,
Yeah.
because again, we're doing this whole parody of a military-led society and just sort of how that's constructed. And so cheesy hoorah nationalistic kind of stuff, even not, you get what I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that military, like, this is why we're doing it kind of stuff,
Yep.
just makes sense. Where three really highlights bad dialogue, people saying things that don't make sense, and sort of point of view shifting. pretty rapidly. Inconsistency in how we think about character.
So not just that, it thematically it also changed, which is what didn't lend itself for that natural dialogue, because the first one was very much, while they were saying oorah stuff, it was being portrayed in a light where everybody was in on the joke, right? But by the time they got into 3, I felt like they were now trying so hard to be like, look, here's how the military is bad and this is how it fails, that they kind of lost the plot of what the whole series tried to be about originally.
That the whole Rico is being hung for insubordination with no questioning, no
Like,
follow up, no
exactly.
anything other than this brand new hotheads. Yeah, that oh. 3 has structural problems, but what I feel like that really highlights is Starship Troopers was a lot more thought out than I think a lot of people
Yeah.
give it credit for or assumed.
It was also based on a book, so I imagine the source material had a lot more there.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we've seen lots of stuff that has source material as a book that doesn't hold up because you need to hold on to some amount of structure to your world craft. And Starship Troopers 2 and 3 take that world craft and really bend it. They try and what's the next thing without focusing on what the thing was to begin with. Starship Troopers is lovingly crafted. Lovingly crafted.
I don't disagree. It is a solid film.
My wife even brought up that there is a very circular Shaun of the Dead-esque moment that I never picked up on. So at the beginning of the movie, Rico is in his future football, rugby, gymnastics, parkour game.
Yep.
Oh God, I am just not on point today. What is happening? So
control yourself.
I like all of these bodily functions functioning. Ugh. So Rico is playing future ball. We're gonna call it future ball. Are you cool with future?
Yep. Future sports ball.
Future sports ball. So Rico's playing future sports ball, and his uniform is a black and orange. I think they're the Tigers school uniform. That's their future sports ball uniform. Well, later, when Rico is with Radcheck's Roughnecks, and he's taking down the big flamethrower tank beetle, and he drops the grenade and it blows up and he gets covered in orange blood spattered over his black armor, and he has a moment with Radcheck where he's like, where'd you learn moves like that? And he goes, don't you remember, sir? I was captain of the team. They put him back in his uniform at his big... I never put that color palette together, and my wife was like, it's a circle. And I was like, oh, fuck, you're right. Yeah, she nailed it with that. Oh, now, Starship Troopers.
Now, was that intended or just a little unintended happenstance? Because that happens in films a lot too.
I feel like the orange is way too specific.
Okay.
Because the other bugs have green blood.
Yeah, that's true. But red flammable or whatever.
Sure. I don't know. Maybe, but it works, bro. It works, man. You ever seen the back of a $2 bill on weed, man? Okay, so
all right. So
I'm almost done with this.
Okay.
So your favorite part of Starship Troopers 3? Let's do the pack ram and let's introduce
the Marauders.
What is it called? Fuck, why am I losing? Oh, Jaegers. Let's introduce Jaegers to our kaiju. We have big bugs. Let's get some really poorly animated, clunky walking mechs to battle.
I wouldn't take a bet if someone said, and I haven't seen this movie in years, which actually I don't know why, but I'm willing to bet that
I know why.
that the CGI on the Mighty Morphin's Power Ranger movie was better than the CGI in Starship Troopers 3.
I'd probably go on par, but that's still not a good
thing. I was
going
to say, I'm not willing to take the bet, right?
Yeah.
I love shitty sci-fi and those giant fucking robots. Like, of course they would add giant robots to Starship Troopers 3. Like, why not? They're called the Marauders.
For me, honestly, I feel like instead of going giant robots, if you really want to do this, and again, here's where I think it holds true. Let's look at this military and what they're willing to do to people to win this war and make a better soldier. Here's your better move. Don't go Jaegers and do giant mechs because the bugs aren't that big. Instead, go the Guyver or Blue Gender. Give them like a cyber suit or make them into cyborg people. Let's focus on the government being horrible and experimenting on somebody and making them a better soldier for them. You know what I mean? And then you could honestly think of the arachnids in the original. Now put them up to. Did you ever see the Guyver?
No.
Eduardo.
I've read, I think, like half of a manga, but
yes, the movie is based on it, and it was supposed to star Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Until
he got a scar on his face, and they had to switch him out, and then he played the backup role.
Yep. And for some reason, he was still kept on the titles on the poster.
The Guyver is actually good. Guyver 2 less so, and then apparently there is a Guyver 3, but it's animated. But it is a direct sequel to the other two, I think, as far as I know. We should do a Guyver watch.
Sure. Let's do it.
I'm gonna sum this up so we have time for other stuff. So, Starship Troopers, legit. I'm not being ironic or hipster about it. Legit. No. Starship Troopers is an 8 or an 8.5. I'm doing my parts out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's pretty high.
It's a solid movie. Jake Busey, on point.
Yeah.
Mr. Krabs, on point.
Most of the main characters are fucking on it.
Neil Patrick Harris is great in it. Yeah. He doesn't have a huge role, but
honestly, I'd say the weakest one was Denise Richards. Just put that out there.
Casper Van Dien is not what I would call a fantastic actor.
But I think he did better than Denise Richards in this film. We can talk about other films.
You're fine. You're good. You're good making that claim. Okay, Starship Troopers 2. It's not good, but I will say, if you're gonna do 1, 2, and 3 in a row, Starship Troopers 2 starts to look a lot more like a 5.5. Hold on. I like the darker tone. The acting is a little B-movie, but not overly B-movie.
It felt like a TV movie is what it really felt like.
Sure. And it still has some good ideas.
Okay.
I don't hate everything about it. I will say Starship Troopers 2, we'll go 5.5. We'll give it just over the halfway mark. We'll eke it past. It squeaks past.
It makes graduation, but it can't walk the stage.
Also, a couple of good, like, if you're like a, nerdy movie and TV show kind of person, you can spot some people in the cast kind of before they took off with some good shit and get some good pulls. So that's fun. Starship Troopers 3. Bro. 2. That's all I have for it. I don't have it. There's no way to describe the movie without sounding like I'm just shitting on something. The acting is bad, but the writing is also bad. The pacing is bad. The CG is bad. Most of the concepts are pretty shit. The one thing, at its opening, I looked over at my wife and I said, I love their would you like to know more bits. Theirs kind of, again, accidentally, felt a little more social media-y.
Okay. Well, there were giant gaps in years, so it could be on purpose.
I think that one's 3 is still like 2008, 2009, if I'm recalling correctly. So it's still, like, social media's happened, but not at the degree it's happening now.
Oh, no.
And I think it really painted that without noticing it was painting that.
Maybe, because, I don't know, MySpace was pretty big around then, or even before that.
It's not quite MySpace-y. You'd have to see it, but trust me, it's hitting a tone it wasn't trying to hit.
It's been a while since I've seen these films.
Yeah. Clearly. I'm going to leave one last bit about Starship Troopers 1 that I loved. When he receives Denise Richards' letter when he's in boot camp, and actually even when he's recording his letter to her, we never see the device they record it on, which this is not on purpose. But what a way to make it feel like it's going to age better, because that could be a camera, that could be a floating droid, that could be a laptop, that could be it falls apart once he gets a disc and has to put it into a disc player to watch the video. But at least for the scenes where you're just seeing the video, we're like,
yeah,
it's whatever I would record it on. It worked well. Okay, I'm done. That was Starship Troopers.
All right, and I'm gonna completely shift fucking gears because I don't think we talk about comics enough on this.
We don't talk about comics enough. I agree.
So
I'm on we've said before, I'm doing my big reread of everything.
Yeah.
I'm in a series that I've never read before, and I'm going to review, but it's 23 books long, and I'm only on book 8. And because it's a more indie publisher, the books are thick. Like most of the books are the size of 2 or 3 regular books. So I'll have some comics to talk about, but I at least want to be over halfway before I talk about it.
Fair enough. No.
I'm excited for this. I sent you this series. This is my fault. This is my fault.
Sort of. He sent me the sequel series, and I was like,
yes.
Well, if there's a sequel, there must be a first part. So I actually
tell that to Star Wars in 1983, whatever it was out.
It was actually pretty hard to find. I tried to get it digital, and it definitely was not digital.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, no, could not find it digital at all. So I bought the trades, and that's okay. I went off on Amazon. I almost went on eBay, but those suckers already got a shit ton of my money when I was building my PC. I'm not trying to bury the lead, but let me set something up for you.
Okay.
So
paint me a word picture.
What if I told you that vampires were real?
My God.
Okay. Wait. But then what if I told you that the only man who could defeat them was Jesus?
Well,
give me your legitimate take here.
I mean, look, I exist in a reality where I'm aware of Battle Pope, so I've already got a foot in the door, bro.
No, I understand, but just
I
follow the logic with me.
Yeah, no, I can see this happening in 2 ways. This is either a heavy satire like Battle Pope, and we're just being tongue in cheek and having some fun, which great fun, or I can see this working slightly more serious, though, and people will think I'm jumping to something weird, but you'll understand why, because you're you and I've watched you do this. I feel like you can do this without being Bible comics. I don't think this needs to be like, Jesus is the only one who can save us from vampires, which represent all of the non-Christian thoughts of the world. I think you can do this without that and take it mostly seriously. Still fantasy-y. You're going to have to drop in some other fantasy-like elements to keep the world feeling fresh and natural, but I don't hate this concept. I don't hate it.
All right. So
how much did I get? How much did I get?
You got pretty good on it.
Okay.
Especially because the concept is preposterous to begin with.
Yes.
Right? Everybody knows. It's like when they did Abraham Vampire Hunter.
Yes, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, it's Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Like,
good book, bad movie, just for the record.
Fair enough.
Horrible movie. Great.
Wait, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies?
No, Vampire Hunter.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't think you'd read that.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was legitimately just Pride and Prejudice plus zombies, and it didn't work for me because Pride and Prejudice doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
I'm not
your
that.
Style.
Yeah, not that audience.
You like slice of life, but you don't like Victorian slice of life.
God, I don't like Victoria. I don't know who Victoria is, but Victoria.
But fuck her in particular.
Yeah, take that, Victoria.
Anyways, getting off on a tangent here. So, it's you get the concept going in. It's going to be something like that, and where I'm always able to separate the subject matter from its execution, unless it's done in complete irreverence, right? Like like that kind of thing. So
Sure.
it's called Loaded Bible, and this
Yeah, it
image
is.
alone will offend a whole what is it, 2/3 of the population
My
of the
grandma's
United
not
States?
happy right now.
Yeah.
Like she hasn't even seen this, and she's still mad about it somehow.
So the setup is
The Jesus versus vampires gospels. I
ex-
love this.
exactly. That's the setup. So I'll give you a brief overview with quasi spoilers because it's kind of what the whole series ends up being about. It's a spoiler because of plot.
Okay. Is Santa the head vampire?
No, no.
Okay.
Jesus is a clone
Okay.
of Jesus. So big
Made by
apocalypse,
Jesus?
big guy Jesus.
No, no, made by Jesus.
No, made
Okay.
by the church, and they don't specify which church. It's
Just
obviously a Christian church because that's what they follow.
Sure.
So here's the thing, though. World War III happens.
Okay.
Post-apocalyptic, vampires are real. Last,
World War Three with the vampires, World War Three then vampires.
so vampires get discovered by accident, and so then we go to war with the vampires, and in that, it destroys the world.
Gotcha. Okay.
That I could say more, but again, I don't want to
Yeah.
too much.
Just
Anyways, and then in the future, once humanity starts to recover, Jesus shows up and starts killing vampires. He
Yeah. I mean, I
has-
figured that's what he'd do
sure,
if
sure.
they were there.
And you have and like I this is the trade, so I'm sure it's a couple issues in, but you find out that Jesus is actually a clone. So
Who isn't?
that's the setup. He fights vampires and he starts to doubt the mission of the church because he finds out he's a clone. So
Fair.
that's the setup. I'm not going to reveal any more.
Hear you, Jesus.
Here's the thing. I am
I like that. Hold on. I like that somebody wrote this and they were like, "How do we make Jesus a more sympathetic character?"
yeah. Also,
You know who hasn't gone through enough shit and really needs a reason for people to like feel for him? It's Jesus.
well, not even that. The interesting bit is he's not like the Son of God, Jesus. Like,
His cousin?
yeah, he's more like Jesus.
Shit.
Cause like they even make a joke about it. At one point, he's off in the desert and he goes, "Well, I don't have all my powers. I can keep this canteen refilling indefinitely, and I can keep regenerating this tuna sandwich. Boy, am I gonna get tired of tuna." Right? So like he has that, and he can heal people-ish, but like so far he doesn't fly. He doesn't do any of the other miracle-esque things. So someone was like, how can we make Jesus more approachable? How can we...
You know who's not an everyman?
Yeah, right? So I just...
Also, well, and to be fair, I also like something that, you know, has too many superpowers. Jesus.
Pretty much.
Really, I drew the line at laser vision.
Well, there's a couple other things like his spit, I guess, is holy because it lights vampires on fire. And if a vampire tries to drink his blood, they explode.
Okay. Buy that one.
Yep.
Magic holy blood.
Yep, exactly. And you did hit it on the nail head. There's other lore items. So far it's Judeo-Christian because Jesus.
Yep.
So like Lilith is a thing.
Okay.
Anywho, so it's actually entertaining. They very much took the it's not parody.
Okay.
And in the sense where it's not necessarily making fun. It does make jokes, but it doesn't make fun. It
Okay.
is very much the common feeling of the church is lying to you, right? So it's that's thematically speaking,
So it's
Uh,
honest. Go on. Okay. I'm
right?
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but it basically it's social commentary from a not I wouldn't say an outsider's perspective because it just paints religion in a way that humanizes it, which it's not supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be above
It's supposed to be
that.
bigger than that.
It's supposed to be
Yes.
above that and transcending that. But no, it humanizes the church, um, but in a horrifying kind of way because it's post-apocalyptic. So yeah, it's not bad. It's so far it's entertaining and I know we don't talk about this very often, but like I'm one of those folks like I have my faith, but that doesn't mean that every single little bit of media has to be an affront. Like Harry Potter is not witchcraft or the devil. That's just not how stuff works, right? Like that's just not how things work. Like even going on the premise that my beliefs are spot on, that's just not how logic, reason, and the laws of the universe work.
Right.
Anyways.
Right. Well, I think it's worth saying, like, I'll even give you the credit. You're pretty open to sort of like, hey, if it keeps you out of a bell tower with a sniper rifle, good enough. Like, you've never really been somebody to go, oh, they're not my specific brand of religion.
Oh, yeah.
Like that couldn't, yeah, or even like, oh, they're not religious. That's just sort of never been you. You're doing your thing. Folks are doing their thing. Don't kill or rape each other. Have a nice day.
Yeah. My biggest rule is how about we just not be pieces of shit to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And same
Yeah.
Z's. Can we all just take a vow right now? Same Z's. Just
Yeah.
generally try not to suck.
Like you don't have to smile to fucking people. You don't have to.
No, you don't have to hold doors open.
No, you don't have to be extra nice. Just be civil. Don't be a piece of shit.
just don't suck.
Yeah.
God.
That's really kind of all we need. But back to Jesus, Vampire Hunter. No.
So happy you live in a world where you can say
right. So what I love seeing what a I'm not even gonna call it secular because I legitimately don't know what the artist or the writer believe, right?
Sure.
But I like alternate takes on traditional belief systems because it's been safe to do it about almost every other belief system except a couple, and that's not
Yeah.
okay. So,
Yeah.
how many alternate versions of Thor have there been? How many all how often have Wiccans and all that been portrayed in media? This and that, right?
right.
And it's okay. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. Let's do it to the Celts. Let's do it to any number of folks, right? But there's these particular sets, and I'm not going to call them out directly because it doesn't matter, of belief systems that they don't stand up to scrutiny apparently, and I don't mean on a factual basis. I mean on like an emotional basis. Folks
Yeah.
get real upset and uppity to when there's any scrutiny.
Not calling this one out in particular, but an example of a situation very similar to that. The South Park episode that goes over Mormonism does go out of its way to have scrolling text at the bottom anytime that they're saying something that actually takes place in the Mormon Bible. There is a disclaimer at the bottom that says this is actually what Mormons believe, and I believe it's the same for the Scientology episode. There is also a disclaimer saying this is what Scientologists believe. This is not a joke.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so except for the one show that apparently has gone away with fucking murder at this point,
Well, yeah, they don't care anymore. They stopped.
I like seeing this. I like seeing even if it's my own belief system, give it outsider's perspective, or not even an outsider's perspective, but a perspective that's outside of the norm. Because why not? It's okay to talk about. And I'm enjoying it. I bought all three of the first run of the books, so I'm gonna get through all of them, and I'll update you on whether 2 and 3 are awful. But
Yeah.
I like it. The characters. So the one thing I will say is like there's like they put a Bible verse on like the first cover. Oh, sorry,
Okay.
on the first page,
Sure.
and it's hilarious because it's taken completely out of fucking context.
Okay.
But that's the joke.
Okay.
I feel like
Okay.
anybody who would read this comic book and not get that and gets offended about that needs to just stop.
I feel like this year at Comic-Con, you should bring this book and do like a book exchange with the Christian Comics booth. Only because I know that you had issues with the comics that you bought from the Christian Comics booth.
Because I was looking for something like this,
Yeah, this is what you wanted.
kind of minus the vampires. So
Sure.
so okay, I've told this story. I think this was like 5 years ago at this point.
No. Well, okay, with pandemic, yes.
Yeah,
It wasn't 5 cons ago.
No,
It was
no, no,
5
no, no,
years.
no, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's
Okay,
been
okay.
like almost
I
3 years
know.
since we've been
Dude,
to a
the
Comic-Con.
pandemic ruined time space.
Yeah,
for
no,
me.
same.
Oh,
It just feels like I'm not back where I'm supposed to be on
Yep.
the timeline, like we diverted,
Yep.
and I know about it. So no, this was 2 Comic-Cons ago, I think.
yeah. That sounds right.
I'm very much also I like Christian comics. I like Christian comics because what I'm looking for is I don't want you to preach to me. I want you to prove to me that you can be human in a different medium, right?
Sure.
So I've found some that they're done well where it's a story about a Christian superhero. Fine, let's do that. As cheesy as that may sound, when
It
done
can
well,
be done well.
yeah, when done well, it's solid. It's the same concept as like a Greek hero, right?
Yeah.
It's faith based powers.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyways, so I go to this booth and I pick up what looks like a solid version of the Bible done in a graphic art, right? And I was like, okay, cool. I'm looking for either a well animated version of the Bible or tell me the stories and show them to me because there's a lot of solid stories about battles, about this and that.
Sure.
What I got
The Bible
was
got some exciting shit.
right. What I got was like almost a you know how the encyclopedia has pictures kind of strewn about?
Yeah.
It was that. It was the Bible but with additional steps and they just happen to be
No.
depictions of scenes that are loosely related to what's being what is just straight scripture. And look, I am down for that to be a thing. However, if you are trying to get a comic book out there at a comic book convention where you're legitimately trying to be part of this medium versus just trying to pander, that's where that line was for me. It felt very
Yeah.
pandery. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't you taking your belief system and turning it into like an art piece. This is you trying to get the message out there to the comic nerds. Okay, fine, whatever.
You know,
And
you know what I've always wondered though? Do the guys from the Christian Comics booth ever go talk to the protesters that we get every year? Like, do they ever just go over there and be like, "Hey, man, you know we're on the same team. I'm just not being a dick about it right now."
Well,
Because I feel like if anybody's gonna shut those assholes down, it's them.
okay,
Like, they don't give a fuck what I think, but they might care what those guys think.
yeah, so there was a recent article that actually illustrates this perfectly. I don't want to get on
God.
too much of a tangent, but there was a convention somewhere, I think it was in the States, that was LGBTQ or furries or some sort of convention that these groups
Something awesome.
traditionally protest, right?
Yeah. Something
And-
fucking dope that those people just can't seem to enjoy.
There were like community people being worried about the disruptions and any violence that this was going to cause. And apparently the police put out, they were like, yeah, we had some issues, but it was the one flavor of Christianity that fought the other flavor of Christianity out front protesting. So like apparently all the quote unquote degenerates were fine. They were lovely. They came in, had a blast in the event space. But it was the protesters outside who got into fights with each other. So,
You know what? Not even shocked.
yeah.
Not even surprised in the least.
Again, normally I don't talk about these kinds of things, but it totally answers your question. I don't think they'd get along.
No,
It's really the
that's
best way
fair.
to put that.
That's fair. All right, let's put a bow on Loaded Bible Book 1.
All right, so Loaded Bible Book 1. If you want a different take on a pretty prevalent belief system, and you're okay with being in on the joke from the beginning, which by the title, I mean, come on.
Yeah, if you're looking at that, you've got to have one foot in the door if you're picking it up.
Exactly. And look, I'm not trying to advocate that. Not once do they claim so far that this is the real Jesus. So it's not that. It is just a weird, wacky tale adding fantasy mythos to a belief system.
You're going to get some weird DMs now. I'm just warning you right now.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that if any of my folks ever, that side of my family ever saw this, I think they'd be pretty upset about it.
Same. My side of the family is not happy about this.
No, I'm pretty sure. And if our buddy Philip's still out there watching us, he's gonna light your shit up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but he was gonna do that regardless.
I mean, true.
Haven't heard from him in a couple of years.
Yeah, that's fair. Legitimately,
For the best.
Actually, concept, execution, artwork it's not my favorite, but I can't really talk shit because I like Hellboy, and sometimes the artwork doesn't matter as long as the rest of it is there. Like, I'm not saying I hate it. It's just I guess I would have liked it to be a little bit different, but that's just my personal taste.
I had somebody ask me once about comics. She was like, "So, would you will you read something that has a bad story but good art, or something that has bad art but a good story?" And I was like, "Yeah, bad art is forgivable for a good story. A bad story is never forgivable for good art."
No, because if it's really good art, I'd rather just get a poster of it
Yes.
and appreciate it and not have to sit there and slog through a goddamn comic book that sucks.
Right.
Solid 4, Exploding Infant Vampires out of 5.
4 out of 5, okay.
Solid. Like I said, artwork, not that big of a fan, but that's because that's my, just, personal taste. So,
yeah.
It's fucking, subjective as fuck.
Right.
But yeah, no, solid read. Check it out.
Okay.
When I'm done with
I'm glad you liked it.
When I'm done with this, I will ship them to you so you can borrow them.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, because they're just hard to find, so.
Is there anything before the letter F that you want to borrow? I'm not giving anything after the letter F because I haven't run into those yet.
No, that's fine. I'll think about it. And on that note, check us out Monday nights, 7 to 8 Pacific on N5D Podcasts, YouTube. Tuesday nights, we're still doing multiplayer night. We had 7 motherfuckers show up last time, so...
A group's getting big!
Yep, group is getting big again. We have started playing some Lost Ark, which I am going to eventually review. So far, mixed. And other Killing Floor, that kind of thing. If you are interested in playing with us, join us on twitch.tv/Metagame Network. We're usually pretty open. We try to find games that a lot of folks can join. So, come on in. Bless. You agree with us, we'll ban you. Just saying. On that note,
Fair.
Bonsai, any final words?
Man, I feel like there's a way to sum up my experience with Starship Troopers, but it's just not coming to me. Just watch the first one and love it. Love it. Love it and appreciate it. Take it into your soul.
And if you ever start feeling like, you know what, it wasn't that good, watch the second one. and then rinse and repeat with a third.
Though apparently there are a couple of CG animated, like the whole thing is CG animated Starship Troopers movies.
And the shows are the Roughnecks show.
Roughnecks is so hard to find.
Yeah, but it's solid.
Getting a hold of Roughnecks is redunk. A couple of the movies are on Netflix, though. I might check those out next.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm starting to think. Oh, I have seen some of the animated movies.
Are they any good?
Yes, they were.
God, that doesn't surprise me.
It was good because it legitimately felt like a story in the universe without the weight of the universe.
Okay, I'm into that.
Yeah. So
that's how Star Wars should be now.
Well, kind of, except you'll never get away from the entirety of the weight of that universe, but we'll see. Okay. Bye.
Bye.